Come on, mom, 22 grand. I stay dripping on fam. You losing my mind. You come in my mind. You don't like what you'll find. Getting real. I used to spark your seal. That's how I know you feel. I flood your wrist. That's Richard Mill. Ducking the ops. That's Navy SEALs. And we're back with another episode of Behind the Artist, where we make the unknown known. Today we have Raqui.
Hi.
Raqui is a Virginia Beach-based artist, and shout out 757, who's garnered quite the following on SoundCloud. And if you're not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, you have a featured track on Apple Music now, right?
I do on Millie Stax's song called Emotions. So I'm featured on that. And then my friend Jarrett is dropping an album on November 27th. And I'm also featured on one of his songs as well.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So yeah, Raqui, sorry. Um, let's just get into your musical journey. Let's hear it. I always ask every guest that comes on, just take us through from start to finish where music got you, what enticed you, and all that. So
Yeah. Well, mine was kind of like it wasn't like it was not a choice, but it was definitely something that was built into my life from a very young age. So when my dad was my age, he had a band in college. He played music his whole life. And so when I was born, he played guitar around me all the time. Music was really huge in my life growing up. And when I was in second grade, my dad got me my first guitar. And that's when I started learning how to play guitar and started like writing songs that sounded terrible and they were
we all we
trash.
all we all have that old songbook, don't we?
Oh, I went through mine the other day. It's very embarrassing. But after that, I took a little break through middle school from like writing, and I just focused on doing covers and working on my voice and my guitar techniques. And going into high school, I focused everything on writing and making acoustic music.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun when I did it because it's a big basis of where my music stems from. A lot of it is guitar influenced, acoustic based with more of an R&B style to it.
Yeah.
But I would be in class in high school, like
Mhm.
writing songs, and for our coffee houses and our performances at school, I always did them where people would ask me to play guitar for them while they sang or whatever it may be. But I was very involved in music in high school. And when I started college, I became a lot more serious about it, started writing like serious music and developing more of my own sound. And then probably when I was a sophomore in college, I met my first friend who was a producer,
Yeah.
and we started making music on like Logic and Pro Tools, and it was the first time I've ever made music that wasn't just on my guitar.
Hmm.
And so that really lit the flame of
Yeah. Yeah.
making music because it was
Yeah,
incredible to
that
be able
first that first project is always just it gets addicting. It really does.
to
It gets
100%.
very, very, very addicting. I can 100% relate.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And it's all
yeah.
you want to do. And I didn't sleep. I just was trying to teach myself how to produce and make beats and
Hmm.
all of that stuff. And I would go to class and I would come home at like 4 and I would practice and learn from like 4 p.m. to like 4 a.m. and get like
Yeah.
2 hours of sleep before I would have to go to class.
That's crazy. That's awesome though. That's freaking awesome. So
Yeah,
what
fun.
would you say specifically enticed you like to get serious about music?
Honestly, that happened very recently.
Hmm.
I think this past year, definitely. I released my first song on SoundCloud summer of 2019,
And that
and
that's Roses, right?
that was Home.
Oh,
And
home. That was a good one. I did
that,
listen to that one. That was a good one.
Home was very sad. It was a very sad
Yeah.
time. I was like, I released it. It was kind of like mindless. I didn't really think through it.
Hmm.
And I released it before going to work. And so after I got out of work, I saw all these messages and people listening. And after like a few hours, I had 500 listens on my first song. And then after
Yeah.
3 days, I had already hit 1,000. And
Crazy.
that to me, that was like insane. And
Crazy.
yeah, I stopped for a little bit because I was started working with other artists and learning from them, and at one point it did not become fun for me anymore, and it just felt
Hmm.
like I was being used by all of these people. And so I kind of took that and got really in my head about everything and stopped for a little while, and then 2020 started and I was like, this is actually something I really love doing and I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep doing it. And when I dropped Roses, that was kind of like a screw you to everybody who tried to fail me or made me feel bad for me saying no to them using me. And it was kind of me proving to myself that, hey, I can do this on my own and I don't need anybody
I
else.
absolutely love that. It's because you can do it on your own. Like you don't need much nowadays, guys. You just need talent and hard work.
Yes,
Let
exactly.
let Rocky be the example for you. Um so when you got out of high school just writing silly songs and you got into college, do you think that that really stems like how, because when I listen to your music and when anybody whoever listens to this afterwards, when they listen to your music they really feel like you mean what you're saying and like what you're saying is true to you. Do you think that just that transition is really what sparks inspiration for you right now?
Yeah, I view integrity in music is really important to me and being honest. So all of my music is deeply, deeply honest because it's easier for me to write about my feelings of what I'm dealing with than
Yeah.
verbalizing it or just speaking about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, being just my music is just a little lookout, like little binoculars
Hmm.
into my emotions, my actual feelings and my
Yeah.
life, what I have to go through. And it's I think that's important for everybody to do. From high
Hmm.
school it was like kind of mindless, like, oh, I like a boy and he doesn't like me back, so sad.
Yeah.
And then it was the right before I got to college. I was sitting in an airport by myself,
Hmm.
and I a friend of mine had passed away that year, and I was just in my head about it. And in the airport I bought a notebook and I sat down at my gate and I wrote a whole song that
That's a great.
just
That's awesome. That's a
yeah, I
great
wrote the
story.
whole song.
That's awesome. I think that that's one of the toughest things for artists nowadays is like just expressing themselves through music it's a very hard skill to learn, you know? And it really takes like a lot of trying times and a lot of experiences to be able to write from the heart. I think it's something you can agree with, but like
Yeah.
things like that, it's really hard to vocalize, and when you can, it's just perfect. It really
Yeah,
is.
it's hard to be vulnerable, but when you
Yeah.
allow yourself to be vulnerable in your music, I think that has the biggest impact out of anything.
Yeah. Do you find that hard sometimes? Because I find that hard a lot of times. I feel like, especially when no clue music, like a lot of hard rap stuff, like obviously I'm not in that scene or anything like that, but I can rap like that if I need to. But like, see, it's a very thin line, and I do feel like a certain way about putting authenticity first. How, what
Mhm.
what do you what do you say? What do you think?
I think obviously not every song that we release or in general is going to be
Oh
about
yeah, yeah, yeah.
feelings and emotions, you
Yeah.
know? And so I think that if you write a song that's like just fun and upbeat or just fun and you had a good time writing it, even if you're writing about hard stuff and you're not even like a part of that life,
Hmm.
it's still fun and you're having a good time, and how you create it shows authenticity, you know?
Yeah, that's see that now that's where I just thought of this. I think that that is a great thing to have. So I think that having fun on a mic and that shows your authenticity more than it does being fake. And you can almost always hear when somebody's fake on a mic and when
Exactly.
somebody's not genuinely having fun.
My
For sure.
favorite music is when I listen to people just rapping or singing about like they're it might be nonsense, but if you can hear that they're loving what they're doing,
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
you fall
energy.
with the song. Yeah,
Energy is 100%. I love energy. I think Lil Uzi Vert's like my favorite example. I think that his energy and like style and just inquisitory to his sounds and like random, it doesn't even have to be words, it'll be random sounds that he makes, and it's just awesome.
and you feel it all.
Yeah,
Even
you
if
do.
he's rapping nonsense, you
Yeah,
feel it
you
every
feel it
single second of
every
it.
single thing of it, and you know when that little beep is coming or like when that little ad lib is coming. Like it's something that you look forward to in people's music for sure.
Exactly.
Um, so while we're on the topic of your music, how would you describe your sound to somebody that is listening to this podcast, they just saw um, your face on the thumbnail and clicked it, what would you say to them? What is your music? How would you describe it?
I would describe it as gentle R&B.
Gentle
Like
R&B.
cuz it's not super R&B. It's more on
Mm-hmm.
like the softer side, the more acoustic open side.
Mm-hmm.
Um I would almost just like if I could be a mixture of certain artists, it would be probably Spooky Black,
Mm-hmm.
Janae Echo, and a little bit of like Brent Faiyaz mixed in there with how I create songs.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope. Um, I don't think a lot of people understand what R&B is nowadays.
Mhm.
Um, you think you could expound upon that? Just like give the people like a couple descriptive words and your definition of R&B.
I view R&B as the smooth, suave, kind of like I don't even want to say the word swag, but like it has more of like it's like a cool swagger to it.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
pop music is like usually upbeat or you can tell when a song is pop, but when a song is R&B, there's just more soul in it.
There's a lot more soul in it, and I think that contents also have a very big thing to do with R&B. Like a lot of love songs, a lot of heartbreak songs, a lot of serious things come out of R&B, and I think that is something that differentiates the genre.
Yeah,
um
absolutely. A
yeah,
lot of R&B is from the heart.
for sure, I agree, I
Yeah.
agree. Rhythm and blues, man, rhythm and blues.
Oh yeah, 100%. You have to R&B is not for everybody, but I feel bad for the people that it's not for
I
because
know, I really
me
do.
too.
I love R&B. There's a lot of R&B artists we could talk about that are just amazing. Like I
Um,
listened to Giveon's new album and I thought it was amazing.
yes.
Did you give that one a listen? That's a good
I have
one.
not listened to it all the way
Oh,
through.
it's a good one.
I always start
That
at the top and make my way down throughout,
hmm
but
yeah.
there's
I know.
Giveon.
Um
Hmm.
so
Ooh. Anyways,
anyways, back on topic. Let's talk about just your life in music. So like I wanted to talk, I haven't talked to anyone about this, but what was your first music setup? I think this is just a fun little thing to talk
I still have it. I still use
about.
it.
I mean, okay, we'll get into mine after, but you go ahead. Tell us exactly what it, tell us, just describe it for us. That's
I moved it around a little bit, but my first
mm,
music setup was in this closet right here.
yep.
I have a mic, a headphone, like my
Mhm.
headphones, an audio box, and GarageBand. And
Amazing.
that's it.
Ama- that kids is why you don't need money to be good at music.
Actually, all of my songs I've recorded and mixed and mastered on GarageBand.
That is so impressive, actually. That's
Oh
very
my
impressive because they're pretty good. That's really impressive. I think that a lot of people hearing that will be like, "Wow, that's pretty good."
God. Don't sleep on GarageBand.
Don't sleep on GarageBand. So yeah, I think my first ever music setup was I think in 11th grade when we were doing the credo. For those that don't know, me and Rocky went to the same high school. That's how we know each other.
Yes,
Um, she or we did a credo, and I've talked about it on the podcast before. But for the credo, it was me, Neil, and my friend Colby, and we were in Colby's house, and we had this snowball of a microphone.
I
Yeah, a
had the
snow.
snowball.
You do? You do? Yes. That makes me so happy because that snowball was
That
so
was my
fun.
first mic.
Yeah, and well, we put like we put a sock over it for the
Yep.
pop filter, and we didn't have any type of any sound tiles, no nothing. Put a sock over it, and then we just recorded out in the open. We didn't care about white noise or anything. It was
That's amazing.
it's so funny. It's kind of crazy what related experiences independent artists have. Have you
Oh,
ever
yeah.
seen? Did you watch? It's on Netflix. Look, Mama, I Can Fly. It's a Travis Scott documentary.
I haven't seen his documentary yet.
Okay, well, it's really good. You should check it out. But within the documentary, there's this scene where he and his brother are literally underneath a sheet, a bed sheet, with his little pop filter and little microphone recording music. Like
That's amazing.
it starts like that, and it's really crazy to see, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people think that like with all the big artists that they see like that are famous now, there's they don't realize like what all it took for them to get to that point. Like it truly starts off like you I used to record all my voice memos on my phone and
Yeah.
like send it to my friends and be like, "Can you fix this?" Like asking for help and everything, but when we see like artists who get discovered off of like their like with Post Malone, White Iverson like got
Hmm.
him super famous, but
Yeah.
he had hundreds of songs before that
Oh
that
yeah.
is what built him up to be able to get to that, and people don't
Yeah.
realize like it takes so much to
Yeah,
just get to that
artists
point.
go through true revolutions, you know, like from where Post Malone was a country artist. Like he was a straight country artist. Have you ever heard his country music? He was a country
Oh,
artist.
I
Yeah,
don't want to hear it.
he was a
That's
country
frightening.
artist before he was before he's a, I guess, quote unquote rapper, but I still categorize him as just artist because he really is a genre bending dude.
Yeah.
um yeah, so yeah, the evolution of artists are kind of, it's just kind of crazy, you know. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about artists like venturing into different genres and stuff like that? Or do you ever see yourself doing that on top of that?
I think if it's for the best, like artists going into different genres that they feel is better for them and how
Mhm.
they like make music, like that's awesome. Like learn who you are throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
But there's some artists out there that are like, yeah, I'll just make this kind of song because I can and I have the money for it. And I'll make this kind of song because I can and I have the money for it. And oh wait, look, I'm winning all of the Grammys for every genre because I can. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That's not okay.
That's okay. Like when Taylor Swift is like a huge example actually. I don't really listen to her music anymore
Yeah.
because it's just not my style anymore. But
Yeah.
when I was in like early middle school and she was still a country artist, I really liked her country music that fit her super well. And
Yeah.
then she started venturing out to really very, very pop. And
Mhm.
that turned me away from her because
Yeah,
it
you either in middle school you either listened to Taylor Swift or you had a crush on Taylor Swift. It was either one or the other.
both. But yeah,
Yeah.
when she started being super poppy, it made I felt like um it became a little inauthentic at that point because I was
Yeah.
like, if she's just with a lot of pop artists, they have to fit a certain mold so they get the listen, so they get paid, so everyone's happy on their management team, but which is super unfortunate. And I'm sure it would have been different if she was in control of all of her
Hmm.
music. But with her newest album, which I've heard a few songs from, which is like kind of folky,
Yeah, Cardigan,
kind of
right?
her coming back to her.
Cardigan, isn't that the what it's called? Cardigan.
No idea what it's
Okay,
called.
I think it's called Cardigan. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very folky and
Yeah.
it brings me back to like how she started, and you can tell that's where she's comfortable and that's where her heart is. And like
Yeah.
that's a beautiful journey, but there's some artists that will just stick to what's the most popular.
Hmm.
And even if it's not how they their heart wants, like they'll still choose to be pop or country or whatever to get the views
I
and listen.
completely agree. I think that a lot of artists stray away from their roots, and you know,
Yeah.
and I think that's a big problem. Um, not necessarily. You know what? I don't think it's a huge problem, but I do think it's a big problem to where some artists really lose a lot of their core fans. You know,
Yeah, they lose a lot of the core fans, and
and
personally, I feel like they lose some of their integrity as an artist.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
I think that's true. But conversely, I do think that people can go through evolutions.
Mhm.
I do think that people's music can change because they want it to.
Yeah.
My main thing, and whether the fans like it or not, my main person that I'd look to for that is Chance. Chance started out as 10-day acid rap, like
Mhm.
crazy high schooler who's just like just absolutely wild. He's just a wild dude. And if you ever listen to Juice or the Cocoa Butter Kisses, they're just beautiful music. It's beautiful music.
Yes.
But he went through an evolution where he had a kid when he was 20 22. He has a kid, then he has another kid, then he gets married. He's not
Yep.
going to be the drug induced high schooler anymore. So his music is not going to be drug induced high school music. So
Yeah.
when he released The Big Day and all his fans like hated him for it, and I'm like, I'm
He's
sorry
not the
that
same
you
person.
can't. Yeah, he's not that person anymore. Like he has a wife and kids, and he is not the high schooler anymore. I don't know what else to tell you. If you're not mature enough to grow with this person, then maybe you just stop listening to the music. Don't hate.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
because
when somebody's going through life things, like I don't know, there's definitely a lot of hate towards people who just grow, and I think that that's
yeah,
different than going pop, because I think that that's what you're talking about, just going pop in general, because that's I think that is where you lose a lot of core fans.
yeah. But with Chance, like he has he's evolutionized as a human being. Like when
Yeah.
you become a parent and a husband, I mean, I wouldn't know because I'm no kids and not married, but but I can assume it's like your life changes
Yeah.
and you want to set an example for your kids and your kids are going to be listening to your music one day,
Yeah,
maybe.
they are, and a lot of people go through this, and I think that I'll make the claim now, and I don't know whether it's going to be completely true, but I think the best artists are the ones that grow. I think they have phases of their lives, like Eminem. He
I
went
was
through.
really just thinking about Eminem.
Yeah. Eminem, he went from blonde haired Eminem, like stages of his life, all the way to where he is now, which is, I mean, not my favorite music, but still good music. It's still good
Yeah.
music. Like, and
Went from Marshall Mathers to then rapping about his daughter.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Jay-Z went from big pimping every woman he could find to I'm married and I got kids now, even though, I mean, we won't talk about Lemonade because that was another issue on
That's
itself.
that's a whole shade.
That's a whole shade. Oh, that was an amazing album, by the way. Like, just as a side note,
Oh
Lemonade,
yeah,
that was a
100%.
crazy, crazy album. Just the
She did
sound.
her thing on
She
Lemonade.
did. She did. She did. Hold up,
She
girl.
left no crumbs.
Yeah, whew, that's a
Hmm.
great one. I do love me some Beyonce as well. She also went through a very big change from being just Destiny's Child, where she's talking about people in the club, to she's a power person. She is
Yeah,
the
she's
person.
she's
And
the powerhouse.
yeah,
She's a woman.
she
Like
claimed she claims things for women all across the world and says it with conviction, which is
yes,
I love that. um Shoot, we can just transition into that. How do you feel about the state of women and music, and how you feel about that? Like, do you think that women are on the rise? Because I mean, me personally, I think that women rappers are slaying
skyrocketing.
slaying the game. There's no question about it, I don't think.
Oh
how,
yeah.
how do you feel about that?
I actually love that female like women rappers are doing so phenomenally across the board because
Yeah.
that is a part in music. Like rap was a genre in music that women like could barely touch, you know? And so now that it's becoming a lot more known for women to rap, there's girls out there that are young who write raps and they grew up and they're going to grow up and see that hey, I can do this. It's not just a man's genre. And that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like that gives hope to so many people and they are killing the game and they're also like they're speaking for women in a way that like is super raw and like kind of not like raunchy but like just really out there but we can all relate.
Yeah, I think, and the craziest thing is, like, I I'll bring it up. Whatever. WAP gets
Yep.
every single woman lit. And there's something about the song. I don't know what it is, and I'll probably never get what it is because I'm a dude and I get that. And I'm okay with not knowing what it is that gets y'all that lit. But it is absolutely wild
When
how
we that's
it's so influential. I and you can't argue it because every woman, white, black, Asian, American, like Mexican, all of them, they love it. And I'm like, I mean, I guess like that's awesome. I think,
we
in
hear
my
that
opinion.
song and our eyes like glaze over and we're in a
Yeah, yeah, and swallow me, swallow me, drip down, like immediately.
I don't even know how I memorized those lyrics, but I did.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how do y'all know all these lyrics, but y'all can't like?
Like I did not even like look up the lyrics or like listen to it so intently to where I should be like knowing the lyrics that well. But if I hear it somewhere, I will. I'm like, God, we swallow.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I know this? Who taught me this?
I like how you
Like,
did the whole Megan
like,
joint too. Yeah, no,
like
that's crazy.
period. Oh
The
my god.
influence now, I think rap is definitely being more inclusive to women. I think that
Yeah.
producers, a lot of more producers want to work with women, and I think that there's a big wave coming, and I think that it's going to be either this year, next, the rest of this year, or next year, or the year after that. It's going to be the top of the game is going to be a woman, at least
Yeah.
top three, at least top three, because
Yeah.
I think maybe this year. I think Kendrick is supposed to drop this year. J. Cole's
Okay.
dropping next year, and
Oh.
then the next Meg album is gonna take all. Is gonna take it all. I think
Oh.
that
The
one's gonna
next.
be like, give me that.
Yep. Meg's like, I got all the awards. How you doing?
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that is what's gonna be coming up for rap in general. I think.
And I think
Um,
that's amazing because it's going to be like the first, not the first time, but kind of like the first big time to where women rappers are so acknowledged,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
and there's been some great ones over history, and like Missy and
Oh,
Lil
yeah.
Kim, they've all been great, but there's something about this era of women rappers that are just, I mean, it's crazy. There's so many that are so good too. Chika, if you ever heard of Chika, she is probably, I mean, she's probably one of the best out right now. Like she's probably one of my favorites out right now, top three for sure. She has a song called Balencies and a song called something else, but I have to go find it. But she is, her skill and everything is just off the charts, off the charts.
That's,
Better than any man out right now. She could use a little bit on the energy, but better than lyricism, better than any man out right now. Well, I
oh,
guarantee you.
lyricism in rap is so important to me.
Yeah, for me too. It's for me too. Yeah.
Like,
Energy is great, and I do love energy. Like I said, Lil Uzi Vert, but like lyricism is where it hits. That's what hits me the most.
oh my gosh. Yeah, you could be listening to a song and the lyricism could be on 10. And when you're
Mhm.
listening to it, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
like,
you get that
yo.
face. You get that face, and it's like, oh, okay,
You're like,
okay,
oh, you
yeah.
know who I do that a lot with? Who
Who?
actually Oatmeal Jenkins.
Oh, Oatmeal. All right. So Oatmeal Jenkins, he also went to our school. If you couldn't tell, NA had a lot of musical talent. I've already had Alec on the podcast. I've already had Neil on the podcast. I've had
Oh,
someone in Neil's band on the podcast. I'm trying to get Oatmeal, so we'll see if he hops on. But
you be careful with him. He does not have a
yeah,
filter.
yeah, he's pretty good though. He Oatmeal Jenkins, yeah. Shout out Oatmeal.
His
Um
lyricism has
a lot
become,
better. He's gotten a lot better over the years. It's kind of crazy to hear his progression, you
oh
know?
my gosh, it's
Yeah.
incredible. When he sends me stuff, um, I just like sit back and like these lyrics are amazing. Like, how did you
Yeah.
think of that? He made me a rap for my birthday, and I was like sitting here listening to it, and I was like, you know what? He just called me old, but he made it sound really good.
He just called me old.
He did. He called me old in it, and I was like, okay, I'm
I'm
not
so
that
sad.
old, but dang.
You're really not. You're old. You're a senior in college. Like you're not that old. We're juniors.
I'm like, I'm 22.
Yeah.
You're 21. I'm barely a year older
Yeah,
than you.
I know. Like what? That's
He's
crazy.
like, yeah, she's old. I'm like, wow, wow.
Well, John, it's okay.
I'm like, he could do no wrong in my eyes, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good dude right there for sure.
Oh yeah, talented. Out like his
Yeah,
pinky holds more talent than most people I've ever met.
I agree.
Which
I agree.
is amazing.
I think that he'll once he finds his base and gets out there a little bit, he'll definitely pick up a lot of following.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
just promote like learning how to network and stuff and like people will listen to his stuff because I listen to it like
Yeah.
voluntarily And
Yeah,
so but I just think he needs to just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it
I
because
absolutely agree.
yeah, because he's got talent and I want to see him succeed really badly.
Yeah, me too. Me too for sure. So, tell us a little bit about what's coming up for Rocky.
Oh my goodness, super exciting actually. I have been working on my own, and one of my friends, Zach, who makes music and
Mhm,
produces as well. Um, I've been, I have like, I'm sitting on a couple songs right now. And
mhm,
so in the next few months, I will be releasing, I think about 4 or 5 singles.
mm.
And then I'm gonna take a little bit of time and create an EP and release that. But I'm
Awesome.
focusing on my singles right now. The other day I just started one of them, and I think that's gonna be the first one that I'll release because I just love it so much.
Mhm.
And I just need to finish recording it and then mixing and mastering it, and then I'm gonna put that out there.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, right now this is part of my evolutionary journey. This is a new
Yeah,
era of Raqui. So
there we go.
yeah, Home and Roses were very like they're mellow and cool. And my music is still chill and mellow,
Good.
but I think technically, like in creating it, I have done a lot more and I've made my music like really my own. And
Do
it
you
just
think
has a cool sound to it.
Yeah, do you think that it sounds more authentic? Do you think it sounds more you than
Yeah, 100%.
there's more you, there's a little bit more confidence in it and just ready to take off?
Oh yeah.
I think
I'm
I think
like getting ready for the game right now.
I know,
Like,
I know.
let's go.
I think we're really ready to hear. I know I am. And this is gonna be
I'll send it
released
to you
on.
first, don't worry.
Thank you. You're gonna release this one on SoundCloud or on Spotify?
I'm gonna release it on all platforms.
Oh, let's go.
Once I learn how to do that.
Okay. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. I know No Clue uses DistroKid. I think John uses it as well, or Oatmeal
Yeah.
uses it as well. That's a
I've heard
good,
a lot of people that use it.
very
I just have to
easy.
actually do it.
It's very very easy. I will say that. United Masters is also a really good place to go to because they will support you and promote you really well. But I mean, I think it's a little bit extra than DistroKid.
Yeah.
But either way, I'm really excited. I'm really excited. So 4 or 5 singles and an EP. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that all of that will be released within this year. So if like from now to November of
Wow.
2021.
I'm I'm excited. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be
Now I
great.
need to stop posting one song a year.
I know. Well, we need more. We do need more Rocky. So
I know. I'm working on it. I just have to put it out. I'm not very good at mixing and mastering, so that's like my biggest issue.
yeah.
So, and that getting that done is my friends are helping me with that. So, it's a little
Mhm.
bit of a process, but
Yeah.
I've been the people who I'm around now who make music and in like the music community, I've just been surrounded recently with so many wonderful, talented artists who believe in myself as much as I believe in myself. And it's really cool being around people who want to see you succeed, even if they're already successful themselves.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. No, I think having surrounding yourself with good people is a great thing for anyone
Oh,
in
yeah.
anything, in any profession, in any sense of life. I think that that's a great thing to do. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
were awesome. Anything else you want to say to the audience? Anything else?
Stream Roses.
There it is. And while we're on it, let's play some roses. All right.
Yay.
Felt this way in quite some time. If I only knew. Months go by and all my tears are dry.